Okay, today I have the pleasure of being here with Nina Guise-Gerrity, and I'm excited because she is someone who has a lot of information to share, both from an education standpoint as well as business. So I'd like to kick off with just starting with her talking about the multiple degrees she has, as well as how that has aided in her business pursuits.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. So I do have a multitude of degrees, and they've prepped me for a lot of different businesses that I have. I think one thing is people always wonder what I'm going to do next, because to know me is to know that I'm always thinking weeks, months, years in advance. It makes me very excited to do that. So I have an undergrad in philosophy and a field of business, and then I have a master's in philosophy, I have a master's in great books, and then I have an MBA. So I get to straddle both worlds of both the intellectual side of the liberal arts and humanities with the more practical, concrete side of business. And mostly it's because I like to be in conversations, and when I'm in conversations, I need to know what people are saying. And one of the reasons it I was prompted, I should say, to get an MBA is because when I would have business conversations with people, I would hear regurgitation of the same phrases, and I would think, well, it occurs to me that I don't know what you mean, but I'm pretty sure you don't know what you mean either. So I figured if I sat in front of academics while doing boatloads of constant reading and research, I would be better equipped to enter conversations with people. And so that's why I did it. So anytime somebody has a chance to go back and get a degree, run to Coursera, which I do regularly, do it. I tell my university students all the time, don't stand on the sideline, get in the conversation. And I also tell students, just read voraciously, read something meaningful, impactful. It can be a part of a newspaper, an article, because when you enter a room, if you can start a conversation by saying, I just read the most interesting thing today, you'll capture somebody's attention. Hence comes a conversation. We call that networking and all that kind of good stuff. But that is rooted in something trustful and something honest. And that's the purpose of a good conversation. Plus, you're going to learn something. And you might not know it at the moment, but this person is going to be somewhere then in your network, helpful to you, to somebody you want to collaborate with, to somebody who's going to potentially be a growth partner. And when you're reading, you're entertaining both yourself, because I'm a runner, so I need to constantly be out there thinking of things. And if I'm not marathon training, which I'm actually not this season, good idea on my part. Yeah, you have to be interesting to yourself. So that's what I think because I read all the time, I come up with these ridiculous ideas, and I think, wait, I think that's actually possible. Wait, I'm pretty sure we could do that, and probably not me, because there are lots of degrees I don't have and information I don't have, but I have this constant curiosity. So that's where it starts.
Yeah, I definitely felt what you said when you talked about, that need to have sort of that business background in those conversations, as well as the intellect that you have through all of your educational degrees. And I have experienced similar situations where, it's different mindsets in different rooms when you're talking with different people. So the more you can make yourself aware, that's definitely valuable. You work a lot with youth outside of just your responsibilities at the university, and you've tutored many kids going into college. So what are you seeing in terms of skill sets? Where are they, when you're tutoring individuals for the SATs, what are you seeing as lacking in general?
Well, so I tutor in all subjects, so I might get you in 6th grade, 8th grade, it depends, and all of that becomes essentially groundwork for getting ready for these college tests, which I do understand schools tell you they're test optional, but if you don't submit that score, you have a very big piece of evidence missing. So they're going to look at 10 students, and if 9 don't have a score and you do, that's your ticket in. So I also tell students that SATs, ACTs, PSATs, this is like hazing for students. It's okay to go through it. It's pretty good discipline. Students are not critical thinkers, and they don't know how to. They need rote. They're rote and they're linear, and if they can't memorize it to come to the answer, then they really don't know how to pivot. They don't know how to deconstruct a math problem. ask questions about it and then try to figure it out. They don't want to marinate with it. They lose attention incredibly quickly because they're unfocused when they're reading, which is why the SAT had to skinny itself down to just bones, but they've also had to ratchet up the content. So students are bored with what they read.
So along with the decades of tutoring and teaching, you also started an app, which was a completely different endeavor and business. So tell us about that.
I will. So first of all, I have to say, you have to be willing to jump off a cliff, for starters, and then you have to wake up every morning around 5 and know there's a tidal wave coming your way. You just aren't sure at what time of day it's coming. And so the only good news is those tidal waves are still as big, like the one I'm having currently right now, but you're just better at navigating through them. And you also know how to stretch your network and lean on people for help. So the problem I ran up against about 6 years ago is I'd flown back to Baltimore from Southern California. When I was in California, every morning I was feeding my niece blueberries, my little one, and we would go to the farm stand and we would go to a local market and I would buy her favorite fruit. Stella loves blueberries. Great, her Aunt Nina was getting her blueberries. It was fabulous. So here I am Monday morning sitting in my stodgy, dodgy concrete office thinking, well now, how am I gonna get Stella her blueberries, right? Hence my t-shirt. And you can't Venmo a blueberry, as somebody quickly reminded me, and I can't send it through the mail, and I didn't know what to do. So I had to make that drastic decision, which is spending an hour driving to the only grocery store that is common between Encinitas, California and Baltimore, Maryland, which is a Whole Foods. And so I drove to Whole Foods in between classes. Now, life is busy, we're all busy, and here I go. I stood in front of the blueberries and they were $4.85, and I figured, well, Southern California, there's an upcharge. They're probably $5.35. So I went to the register and I asked the cashier for a gift card for $5.35, and I was promptly told, you can't do that. You may get a $5 gift card or a $10 gift card. And I thought, okay, well now there's my secondary problem. Not only can't I get her blueberries from the farm stand, I now have to buy her a wrong denomination gift card. I, like everybody out there, we have a drawer full of those in our kitchen, which I have $4.97 to Nordstrom's. If anybody wants it, call me. We have $1.62 to Home Depot, where we never ever go. We have a drawer full of Dunkin' Donuts. I don't like Dunkin' Donuts anything. If you want to, please reach out, ask me. We have a $150 gift card to Fogo de Chao. I am vegan and my children are vegetarian. What are we gonna do at Fogo de Chao, where it's a meat restaurant, which is marvelous for those who like it. Thank you very much. You brought me a gift I cannot ever use in my life. So I buy this wrong denominated gift card. I have to get an address. I have to get a card. I have to walk to the post office on campus and get a stamp. 5 days later, Stella got a gift card for $10 and she bought chicken nuggets and Cheerios. And I thought, wow, that was so deflating. So I figured gifting, the intention doesn't match the execution, right? So on that next holiday, you know you're getting a gift. What you don't know is the degree to which you're not going to like the gift you get, right? We want what we want. People don't like to say that out loud, but you figure it out. You want exactly what you want. You want that tattoo, you want kayak lessons, you want that necklace and not any other necklace. And so I had to create an app. Now, I don't live in the world of technology, so I can talk coding languages and I can talk SQL and I can talk APIs. And every day I talk to developers from around the world, but I had to teach myself. So, but I don't code, so I know my limitations and I'm not going to be coding, but I know my strengths. And so we now have an app on the market. It's called Get Gifted, Get GFTD. And you come on, you create different wish lists. Those wish lists are populated with different items. And a lot of people are, thousands of users do a lot of services and lifestyle experiences. And it's the price, tax and tip included. And then all of your contacts can see them and send you a bubble tea, an acai bowl, a tattoo, a second piercing in your ear, whatever the items are that you want. your friends and family, your coworkers, they want to give them to you. So now they can. And our app is sustainable, so we're not sending packages to your door. I've already suffered the fates of that with massive boxes that contain a small glass candle. Crazy. And so this has a digital wallet embedded in the app. So it's two different pieces of technology that we merged together so that the exact cost for that item is yours. Drop in your bank account, buy it, and then through your app you send a thank you note to me, you send social media, pictures, it's in your feed. So it feels really, it's exciting when someone gives you a gift, what someone did, because I just became a grandmother. Right, the angels are singing. And somebody I hadn't seen in probably 22 years sent me an iced coffee. Since then, we've gone out to lunch. We have plans to go to a concert next month, and I haven't seen her in 22 years, and it was the warmest feeling throughout the day. I'm 57, I've been given a lot of gifts. I still get excited, and she took the time to send me something that doesn't cost very much, but made me so joyful. So that's why I had to create this app. It's about relationships. And about exciting ones.
And you brought a lot of Loyola students along with you through that creation. So you were teaching not only your regimen of academia, but you were teaching business and building students up beyond what you do.
You are correct, exactly. And I pull in students who might be in econ, in finance, in communications, all different fields, in English, and I give them essentially internships throughout the summer or throughout the 2 different semesters, and those are for credit. So these are internships that sit on their resumes, and we meet several times a week. I give them projects, I pull them into meetings so they can see what this intensity feels like, because you are forever living in the moment and in the future. When you own a company and questions get thrown at you all the time, and one of the interesting parts is I might be talking to somebody who is a CEO or of the high management level, and then I'm talking to an 18-year-old within the span of an hour. And so you have to be ready for your audiences, and whenever I can bring them together. And I've had most of my interns just swing for the fences when it comes to getting a first or second job, and I'm always their point of reference, and they get the jobs because I really appreciate what students are capable of doing, and I'll press them, which is nice.
Which leads us to your latest endeavor, because you are indeed very much a mentor. So go ahead and use a little bit of bragging rights and tell us about all the success you've had with getting students into colleges, and then how that's led into your newest business.
Oh, thank you for saying that. So the point of tutoring is to really mentor the other person, right? So it's not about me, it's about the other Laura. But I get lots of wins along the way. A student who I just like so much, he's off to Harvard. He just let me know on Friday that he got accepted to Harvard. So that's wonderful, and I have a student starting there next year, and really the idea is school of best fit, but I have a partner, and he and I have started a more expansive idea of both academic coaching but performance coaching, because the skills that students are missing are not only academic ones, but they're really skills about leadership and about focus and about logic and about setting their best schedules. And so we start with students who are in 6th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, in the college process, or already in university, because a number of large universities try, but they don't advise very well. And my partner and I have been doing advisory for decades at this point. And then we can also help you with getting a PhD, but we help you with summer research projects and service projects and getting internships and networking and attending events wherever you are. And so this new company called Arete Rising, A-R-E-T-E Rising.net. But Arete means excellence in Greek, and for somebody who teaches the ancient philosophers, as well as political and economic philosophy, the whole idea is that we want to just uplift a student towards excellence. And what I've discovered is that the relationship from a parent to a child is very different than a parent trying to now tutor a child, help them, because those are very different relationships. I farmed my own children out. You think I would have been able to know, but Mom, and that's all I needed to hear, because I want to be your parent. I don't want to And the pressure that students are under these days is just immense. And I think it's because of a lack of skill and pressure, and high schools are more competitive, boarding schools are more competitive, to get a spot in acting is more competitive, to get a spot in university is more competitive. So my partner and I shepherd a student from the very beginning when you bring us on, all the way through university, through networking, through your first profession, build resumes, get your LinkedIn profile, and we're always upskilling you. And that's what makes me really excited. Families are busy, parents are busy, and my partner and I know how to bring your child success. We also know how to make somebody with character. I've been doing that for a while. I have 5 children. They're all pretty terrific.
So speaking of that word character, when you think of someone who's successful, whether they're a young person or middle-aged or even getting into retirement years, and they pursue something that ends up truly being successful, what kind of character traits do you find in general people like that have?
Well, it's so interesting that you said that, because of course this is so much of what I teach with the ancient philosophers, right? I mean, you're walking right back into Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, right? These Socratic philosophers gave this to us, and Aristotle spends a good amount of text space writing about the ethics, and his list of ethics comes to mind, right? Temperance, moderation, bravery, courage, to be able to rule yourself well, so then you can rule others well. And he doesn't say this, but it's about humility, and it's really about grit. That's the one character trait that I have leaned on, which I'm not saying that I'm the example to follow, but you really have to be honest, and you have to want to build a kind and beneficial relationship on both sides of the table with somebody. But it really has to do with endurance, empathy, courage, knowing when you're wrong, standing up when you're right, and you can be successful. It has nothing to do with dollars, nothing at all. That's just, those are sprinkles on the cupcake, which is not to say live in a box under a tree. No, not at all. You should have the material items that you want, but if you do that with moderation and balance, you're going to have plenty, and you are going to be, well, you'll know when you were successful, because you know it. It's like falling in love. You just know it when it happens.
So when how do you turn off the noise? Because I know, like myself, you value conversation, good conversation, solid conversation, but there's always going to be noise. There's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people who have opinions that aren't necessarily valuable or helpful in any situation. So what is your best advice for blocking out the noise?
And to me, those are 2 different conversations. But one, I block out the noise by going running, reading. That I get out of my head as fast as I can, because if you get it in your head, then you're just going to wreck yourself. And secondly, I tend to get criticism from people who either don't understand my businesses, or they're so tangentially involved that they're lending what they find to be expert opinion about something they just know nothing about, and I've figured that part out. So I don't get my feathers ruffled. I don't get thick, I have thick skin. I did not have that for a long time, and people's comments were biting, and I was always pivoting to try to figure out what I had done wrong, until I realized, no. It's not what I've done wrong. They just don't know what they're talking about. So just put them on the side, listen to what they have, but use it like a sieve. Pull it down and think, okay, well, this is one idea. I do hear what you're saying, but people don't base their insights for you upon anything but their personal opinion. So you just think, okay, well, so now I'll say, thank you, I appreciate what you have to offer.
So then let's flip it and talk about those positive conversations, the ones that really fire you up, those networking moments that you could talk for days and hours with someone. What brings that kind of life?
Yes, and I'm actually having that with one person, and we are so like-minded, it's almost crazy. And I was just fortuitously put together with this person, and I think we're actually going to be doing some business together, because he sees the world like I do, is very much this opportunity to collaborate with others, right? And so fired up by ideas just continuously. So I gravitate towards the people who are risky and who love to throw spaghetti at the wall, thinking everything is going to stick. So I am woefully optimistic, maybe annoyingly optimistic, but in a very genuine way, because I see any obstacle as something I just have to climb over, climb around. It really, to me, every problem has a solution. It genuinely does. And I even tell that to my students. Now, I'm in my 50s. Ugh, I just had a birthday. But, so, I'm sure I didn't always feel that way, but make yourself gritty. And you'll find success. You really will, and happiness. But people who have bold ideas, who are not conventional, are the few. I understand you the most.
There is one line I always kind of have lived my life by since my undergrad years many years ago, which is, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. Is there one thing that kind of drives you, or a line you say over to yourself, or it just reappears?
Well, it's a little bit funny because I'm not sure who said yours, but this sounds very, very much like something Socrates would have said when he said the unexamined life is not worth living. So to me, that's this very existential call to constantly be creating yourself, willing yourself to greatness. I'll leave a conversation or a classroom with somebody and I have to go running because I have churned that much energy in myself, and I don't drink caffeine and I don't eat sugar, whatever. So don't live like me. You're kind of limited, but I have that energy in me, which is not unique to me, really, really, really at all. And so one thing I like about the philosophers, which I think is also about people who create businesses, which is everybody I'm talking to, right? Everybody, is that you're both humble, but you're very arrogant because you have qualities that are special, but you're humble enough to learn from others, engage in conversation, think, well, that didn't go well, really at all. But it's not that I made a mistake. It's just that, man, I didn't have enough information. I was way off the mark. But I'm smart enough to not pursue it. So I don't have a big ego at all. But I am legacy. Like that's why I'm doing this. So my app will blow up and be big. It's going to be great for corporate gifting. And we have our new charitable donation site that's out now. I'm meeting with 6 teachers today. I'm meeting with people at local hospitals next week and the week after because first responders, nurses, teachers, nonprofits, they want to set up donation lists that are personalized to what their clients need. And we as donors don't want to write a check for $50 or $1,000. That feels vacant. I want to buy you crib sheets. I want to buy you Band-Aids. I want to buy you reading glasses. Whatever it is you need, we can connect you. And it feels like I cared about my community and I made something happen. So that and my new little grandson, Oliver Graham. Oh,
well, congratulations.
Thank you. So I would just say to people, go create a legacy. Just go do it, which is an overused line. I fully understand that, but just take your idea, write it out on paper, draw it, talk to somebody about it, and then just go running straight forward.
So if we'd like to visit any of these endeavors you're working on, both with the counseling and tutoring and mentoring of students, and then as well as the app, how can someone find your information?
You're so nice to ask, and I really invite people to do so. So for Get Gifted, it's both in the App Store and Google Play, but you can also go on our website if you don't want to download the app, but send something to a younger friend, and that is getgftdapp.com, which is the website version, or just Get GFTD, both in Android and iOS. And then for our new one, it's just ariterising.net, which is ARETERISING.net. And if you go to ariterising.net, you'll see me right on the landing page. So you can put another face to a name. And what I always tell people is, if you have a question, just reach out to me. I answer questions for people all the time, for people who aren't using me to tutor their children. Please let me be a resource to you. I'm good at that. I like that.
Well, thank you for all of your time. I have definitely enjoyed the time I've gotten to spend with you this summer, and I wish you well. I know that both of your businesses are thriving, and you're going to do great things. So,
Well, you're nice to say that. Well, let's talk next year because you're going to hear about the next one. It's already in the cooker. Oh, yes.
I understand how that works. I tend to have a similar mindset. That's why we get along.
Exactly. I was going to say that's why we're lovely friends.
Well, thank
It's
you
exciting.
again. I appreciate you.
Laura, thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, everybody.